Live India's Voice to the World. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Trump takes a 30-day pause for imposing tariffs on Canada and Mexico after Doordarshan border checks and clamp down on drug trafficking. EU chief says will respond if unfairly targeted by the US after a meeting in Brussels. Also agreed to step up defense efforts against Russia and other threats by filling capability gaps. Donald Trump says there are no guarantees that ceasefire will hold ahead of meeting with Israel's PM Benjamin Netanyahu. Next phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal to be discussed. Eastern Congo Rebel Alliance, including the M23, declares unilateral ceasefire from February 4th, says it has no intention of expanding footprints after taking control of key city of Goma. And on to the details. US President Donald Trump delayed the start of tariffs on Mexico and Canada for a month on Monday after the US neighbors struck last-minute deals to tighten border measures against the flow of migrants and the drug fentanyl. Trump, in a social media post, has confirmed that the US is halting its plan to impose tariffs on Canadian imports in exchange for Canada doing more to prevent illegal drugs from entering the US. Mexico has also reached a similar understanding with the US. Trump said the talks on final deals would continue with both countries, while Canada will appoint a fentanyl czar. Mexico will send 10,000 troops to the border as part of the deal with Trump.
We reached an agreement. It is in the agreement we published to place more National Guard in the northern border in order to protect the border and prevent drug trafficking, especially fentanyl trafficking from Mexico to the US.
Well, the pause allows time for negotiations on drug smuggling and illegal immigration. Both Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said they had agreed to bolster border enforcement efforts in response to Trump's demand to crack down on immigration and drug smuggling. That would pause 25% tariffs due to take effect on Tuesday for 30 days. Well, meanwhile, U.S. tariffs on China are still expected to go into effect at 12:01 EST on Tuesday, that is 5:01 GMT, after Trump announced a 10% tariff on the country's imported goods over the weekend. Tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico were paused for a month after Trump held phone calls with the leaders of the two countries. No such deal has emerged for China on Monday. However, Trump said last-minute talks between Washington and Beijing will likely be held probably in the next 24 hours to avoid new tariffs on Chinese imports. He described the 10% import tariff as the opening salvo and said that the tariffs could be very, very substantial if no agreement is made. Well, Europe must act with urgency, scale up its defense and security capabilities and become a true security provider. This was the key message that emerged from the meeting of European Union leaders at an extraordinary informal summit in Brussels. Speaking at a press conference at the end of the informal summit, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the bloc wants a constructive dialogue with the United States but is ready to respond firmly if it is unfairly targeted by the new Trump administration.
And against the backdrop that we know that there is a lot at stake, we discussed ways to strengthen a very pragmatic cooperation with the United States. There are clearly new challenges and growing uncertainties, so the European Union is prepared for a robust but constructive dialogue with the United States. When targeted, unfairly or arbitrarily, The European Union will respond firmly.
While strengthening Europe's defence through collaborative military capabilities was also decided among the member states, elaborating on which German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stressed an urgent need to build a resilient, self-sufficient European defence industry.
I advocate that all European countries should not spend 2% of their economic output on defence, and that at the same time we do everything we can to create the conditions for a strong European defence industry.
Well, the issue of territorial integrity of Denmark also came up during the discussion, on which European Council President Antonio Costa said reserving it is essential for all European Union member states. Polish Prime Minister echoed Costa's comments.
Preserving the territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark, its sovereignty and the inviolability of its borders is essential for all member states. And the European Union fully supports the Kingdom of Denmark.
The words of solidarity towards Denmark were also important, and I only saw that we all are collectively in unison supported Denmark, and we are all aware of the consequences that we might face as a community. It's very important that our words are not empty about that solidarity, and that we show solidarity with acts, not just words.
Well, President Donald Trump has said that he wants Ukraine to supply the U.S. with rare earth mineral. Trump touted the Ukraine's rare earth minerals as compensation for Washington's financial support of its conflict efforts against Russia. Trump said Ukraine was willing and emphasized that he wants equalization for the close to $300 billion in aid. It was unclear whether he was using the term rare earths broadly to include all critical minerals or strictly referring to rare earth elements.
We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earth. We want what we put up to go in terms of a guarantee. We want a guarantee. We're handing them money hand over fist. We're giving them equipment. So we're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earth and other things.
Well, in some other updates related to Ukraine, International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi is visiting Kyiv to inspect a key substation that is critical for the safety of Ukraine's nuclear power. In his 11th visit to Ukraine since the conflict began, Grossi will visit Kyivska substation to assess damage and help prevent a nuclear accident. In September, Ukraine and the IAEA agreed that the agency's experts would monitor the situation at key Ukrainian substations in addition to monitoring nuclear plants. More than half of the electricity consumed in Ukraine is generated by 3 nuclear power plants, but Russian missile and drone attacks on substations threaten the stable operation of nuclear power plants. And the Eastern Congo Rebel Alliance, known as Congo River Alliance, has declared a ceasefire for humanitarian reasons starting on the 4th of February. The alliance, that includes the M23, said that it had no intention of capturing Bukavu, South Kivu's provincial capital, after it seized Congo's largest eastern city of Goma last week. The Congo River Alliance has accused the Congolese military of killing people using aircrafts to bomb areas it holds. It added it does not intend to seize any further territory, despite saying otherwise last week, and it will hold its positions. The ceasefire announcement by the M23 rebels came shortly after the UN Health Agency said at least 900 people were killed in last week's fighting in Goma between the rebels and Congolese forces. Well, the conflict has displaced around 500,000 people, raising fears of regional instability and prompting calls from the Congolese government for international sanctions against Rwanda for its alleged support of M23. Meanwhile, human rights groups have been calling for more pressure on Rwanda to back down. The DR Congo's communications minister called for the international community to impose sanctions on Rwanda.
The world or the international community cannot not react on what Rwanda is doing in the eastern part of DRC. They've been killing a peacekeeper from United Nations. They killed soldiers from SADC. They are killing population, bombing hospital, etc. And all this was happening during the day. How come the international community cannot take a strong position, a strong decision, not only to condemn, but to stop what Rwanda is doing?
On the other hand, Rwandan President Paul Kagame, who is also Commander-in-Chief of the Rwanda Defense Force, said he did not know if his country's troops were in the DR Congo. DRC President Felix Tshisekedi and Rwandan President Paul Kagame will attend a summit on Saturday. With 30 years of conflict behind them, it is expected that any negotiations, if they do not break down, as they have several times in the last year, could go on for months. And Syrians may have to wait for another 5 years for elections to take place in the country. This was announced by its leader, Ahmed al-Shara, just after the week after he was appointed interim president. It has been less than 2 months since Bashar al-Assad was ousted. In a pre-recorded interview broadcast on a private Syrian television channel on Monday, al-Shara said that the election process could take 4 or 5 years, saying the infrastructure for the vote needs to be re-established and that will take time. Though he also promised a law regulating political parties, adding that Syria would be a republic with a parliament and an executive government. Shara was also tasked with forming an interim legislature as the Assad-era parliament was dissolved, along with the Baath party, which ruled Syria for decades. Syria's constitution was also repealed and the Assad-era army and security forces were dissolved. A transitional government has been installed to steer Syria until 1st of March. His appointment has been welcomed by key regional players, Egypt, Qatar, Turkey and Saudi Arabia. And Ecuador's President Daniel Noboa announced a 3-day border closure to coincide with upcoming elections in response to growing security concerns and the increasing violence from criminal groups that have destabilized the country in recent months. President of Ecuador has ordered a stronger military presence on the borders and at ports. The closure will restrict both the movement of goods and people across the border, ensuring that no external influence or destabilizing forces can interfere with the elections. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. President's address discussion to continue in both houses during budget session. The King of Bhutan is set to visit Prayagraj Mahakumbh to take a holy bath at Triveni Sangam. And in sports, Australian cricketer Michelle Bevan has been inducted in the Australian Cricket Hall of Fame. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lapakshi Khurana, and moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will respond to the motion of thanks in the Lok Sabha or the lower house of Parliament today, while he will reply in the Rajya Sabha, that is the upper house, on February 6th. The ongoing budget session continues to witness intense debates and sharp exchanges between the government and the opposition over Kumbh Mela mishap and various other issues. Today, on the 4th day of the session, the debate on the motion of thanks is listed for post 0 hour and question hour, while after the debate concludes, Prime Minister Modi will give a reply. And India's Home Minister Amit Shah will chair a review meeting on the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. The Home Minister is expected to discuss the status of the zero tolerance policy against terrorism and the ongoing operations against terrorists. During the last review meeting on December 19, 2024, Amit Shah directed all security agencies to continue working in a coordinated manner to eliminate terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. The government has maintained that there is a significant decline in terrorist incidents, infiltration and recruitment of youth in terrorist organizations. Security forces last week launched a massive operation in J&K, mostly in the high reaches and forest areas along the line of control, to locate and eliminate terrorists who carried out multiple attacks in different districts last year. And Secretary General of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Nurlan Yermakbayev, arrived in New Delhi on Tuesday on his first official visit to India. During his visit, Yermakbayev will meet External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and Minister of State for External Affairs Kirti Vardhan Singh. He will also address the Indian Council of World Affairs. Earlier, EAM Dr. S. Jaishankar signed 8 outcome documents highlighting India's contributions during the 23rd SCO Council of Heads of Government meeting in Islamabad on October 16, 2024. And now to all the latest from the Mahakumbh, the largest gathering of humans anywhere on the planet. Well, the third and last Amrit Snan of the ongoing Mahakumbh Mela 2025 concluded on Monday with more than 12.5 million devotees taking a holy dip on the occasion of Basant Panchami. Tight security measures were in place, ensuring a safe and orderly experience for all. According to the officials, an extensive police and security arrangement was put in place across the Mahakumbh fair area to ensure a smooth and secure bathing experience for devotees, saints, Mahatmas and Kalpvasis. Well, also, Bhutanese King Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk arrived in northern state of Uttar Pradesh on Monday to visit the Mahakumbh. The King of Bhutan will visit the holy gathering on Tuesday, where he will take a holy dip at the Triveni Sangam and offer prayer at the sacred site. Earlier, the Bhutanese king met with UP's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Upon arrival, the king's envoy was greeted with traditional music and dance at Lucknow Airport. The Mahakumbh 2025, which commenced on 13th of January, will continue until 26th of February. The event has already attracted millions of devotees from across the country and around the world. And weather in India's New Delhi takes a U-turn as residents wake up to light rain on Tuesday. The Met Department estimates that this may cause the maximum temperature to drop by 2 to 3 degrees. Weather officials forecast that Delhi and its surrounding areas will receive light rain and thunder showers till Wednesday due to the western disturbance. And United States President Donald Trump has signed an executive order for the creation of a sovereign wealth fund within the next year, saying it could potentially buy the short video app TikTok. The short video platform TikTok briefly went offline ahead of a law requiring its Chinese parent company ByteDance to either sell the app or face a nationwide ban. The law was set to take effect on 19th of January. After assuming office on 20th January, Trump signed an order delaying the enforcement of the ban on TikTok by 75 days. He has since confirmed discussions with various parties about acquiring TikTok and indicated that a decision regarding its future is likely in February. Speaking to reporters about TikTok, Trump mentioned that Microsoft was among the companies interested in acquiring the platform.
So other countries have sovereign wealth funds, and they're much smaller countries, and they're not the United States. We have tremendous potential in this country, tremendous. You're seeing that, what's happened just in a short period of time. And as an example, TikTok, we're going to be doing something perhaps with TikTok, and perhaps not. If we make the right deal, we'll do it, otherwise we won't. But I have the right to do that, and we might put that in the sovereign wealth fund, whatever we make, or if we do a partnership with very wealthy people, a lot of options, but we could put that as an example in the fund, and we have a lot of other things that we could put in the fund.
Well, French Prime Minister Francois Bayrou has pushed through the country's budget without a parliamentary vote, invoking a constitutional clause. Bayrou on Monday used Article 49.3 to force through the budget legislation, sparking a no-confidence motion from the left. Despite this, Bayrou's job appears secure thanks to support from the Socialist Party. The move comes as France faces pressure from the European Commission to control its growing deficits and debt. Bayrou has prioritized a sustainable budget plan after his predecessor's austerity plan was scrapped. And from the National Geospatial Mission to official recognition for gig workers, a slew of new initiatives was announced in India's union budget. This report has more details.
Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman made history as she presented the budget for a record 8th consecutive term. The budget also had many firsts. Calling agriculture the first engine of growth, the FM announced the Prime Minister Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana. Covering 100 districts with low productivity, the initiative aims to boost agriculture productivity, crop diversification and irrigation facilities. It's expected to benefit 1.7 crore farmers. Public sector banks will develop the Grameen Credit Score framework to serve the credit needs of self-help group members and people in rural areas. For the Bihar state, a decisive announcement was made. A Makhana board and food institute will be set up there. Also known as foxnut, makhana is dried edible water lily seed. Bihar accounts for nearly 90% of makhana production in India. A Rs 500 crore 5-year mission was announced to increase cotton production and give a boost to the textile industry. Gig economy stepped into the spotlight. Now gig workers will be officially recognized. The government will arrange for their identity cards and registration on the eShram portal. They will also get coverage under the Jan Arogya health insurance scheme. The initiative is expected to benefit 1 crore gig workers. There was also a lot in store for the tech and education sectors. The National Geospatial Mission was launched to facilitate modernization of land records, urban planning and design of infrastructure projects. To promote STEM learning, 50,000 adult tinkering labs will be set up in government schools. Bureau Report, DD India.
And in sports, Tamil Nadu's Velavan Senthil Kumar and Goa's Akansha Salunke clinched gold medals in the men's and women's squash at the 38th National Games on Monday. In the men's final, Velavan Senthil Kumar secured a commanding 11-6, 11-9, 11-7 victory over Rahul Beta of Maharashtra. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu's Abhay Singh and Maharashtra's Suraj Chand earned bronze medals. In the women's final, Akansha Salunke of Goa defeated Anjali Sembal of Maharashtra in straight sets 11-6, 11-9, 11-7 to claim the gold medal. An Australian cricketer, Michelle Bevan, has been inducted in the Australian Cricket Hall of Fame. Bevan is widely regarded as one of the greatest white ball players of all time. He was the world's top-ranked one-day international batter for 1,259 consecutive days between 1999 and 2002. He played 232 one-day internationals, scoring 6,912 runs, including 6 centuries and 48 half-centuries. He was a member of Australia's 1999 and 2003 World Cup winning teams. While 40 light installations scattered around Copenhagen brightened the Danish capital amidst the ongoing Light Festival that opened on the 31st of January. Light treasure hunts, concerts, a silent disco and a light run will also take place during the festival. The festival, which runs until February 23rd, is the largest light art festival in Europe in number of artworks on display. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.